Next, old business, House Bill 349.
Oh, you missed the facilities.
I thought I put the facilities under financial.
Oh,
I put it under B,
What about
financial.
oh, you did,
The
okay.
lock replacement and the
Oh, there.
procurement
I
are
put
under financial.
lock and procurement under
Okay.
financial because Robin brought the lock stuff.
Okay, that's fine.
I
Yep,
have a habit of sticking Robin's stuff under financial.
sure. No, that's perfect. So I sent out to the board the update on House Bill 349. So it came out of committee, the Senate committee amended. So that amendment, so we, at the request of the board, I submitted the amendment, as did Ned Gordon. His and I were similar. So the part about trying to speed up the process, the whole 4-year process has been shortened now to essentially 1 year. So March of 2024, if it moves through and becomes a law, March of 2024, at town meeting, those 3 towns will have to vote. If one of them does not vote in favor, then it's done. So it's one, Ned was very clear about that. He said they should have one bite at the apple here and move on because it's not fair to the rest of Newfound. Now, the other portion, I was a little bit disappointed. In fact, Kim had asked about bringing in some of the language from RSA 195, which is the cooperative school language for withdrawal studies. And that would have included, and I mentioned it here one night, about each of the 3, like Tom, Dominic, and Britta, being on the withdrawal study committee, which is the way it would be if it was RSA 195. That did not make it into the amendment. So we tried. So right now, what that means is Thursday of this week, it's on the consent agenda for the Senate. So it's expected to be passed. But now it's not the same bill that came out of the House. See, the House did not amend it. So when that happens, now they have to have, they call it a committee of conference, and they have to get together and agree. Likely, the House will agree to the amendment, and then if they do, both will vote on it again, and then it'll go to the governor. So I've been told that they expect it to get to the governor's desk by the middle of June. It'll go, it's going to move pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, so is the committee of conference the whole house? Is it a smaller?
No, it's a
committee?
smaller group. I'm not quite sure how that's made up, but they have a group that gets together
And reconcile.
right,
bills.
and reconciles. I mean, that's not the only one. There'll be others
Right.
like that. Yep. So that's where we are right now.
I'll
So,
call that a 50% victory.
Right.
well,
Something.
Yeah.
I think that, so it would be March of 2024. They will remain in the SAU the following year. So you have to think about budgeting. I talked about that a little bit here, that next fall, when Robin starts the budget, she has to plan for Bridgewater Hebron being with us. And that's the budget for the year after that. So you kind of have to have a year to let things play out. And then that'll give them time to do what they need to do to get organized, if it passes.
And that's assuming it passes. That's
Right.
So
So
then
all
they-
assuming it
then-
passes.
Then what was the
All assuming it
amendment
passes.
that they'd be pulled out of what, of July of 2024? Or would it be
Five.
2025?
They would
Okay,
remain for one more year.
right, so July 1st of 2025, if it passes the 3 towns.
That's correct.
Okay, I
And it
just
has to
wanted to
pass all
clarify
3,
that.
not just like 2 of
Each
the
town
3
separately,
has to pass.
yeah. So if one town votes no,
It's
then it's done. Yeah.
Do we know, is it 50%?
Yes, it's.
Yes, it's a simple majority.
Simple majority, got it.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Thank you for staying on top of all that.
No problem.
All right, board member comments? Anybody have any comments?
I just want to make a comment on, just as we discuss things like facilities and needs and curriculums and teachers and so forth, is just to keep our eye on the ball around enrollment, because it's become kind of a common thing to throw around about how it's a decline. We even heard it this evening, right? A declining enrollment. And then now we're talking about adding a kindergarten teacher because of the increasing enrollment. And that's going to flow through, obviously. And so I think that's just important. We can't just make an assumption that something is true. We need to just keep our eye on it when we're making these decisions, because it is frequently thrown out there.
Yep.
So just something to think about for us.
On the same vein of enrollment, I actually had a question about the enrollment numbers that we got with our agenda about the homeschool student data. Are these cumulative numbers, or are these just kiddos that have withdrawn to homeschool this year?
It's cumulative, but it
But
really,
like for what period? Like, because it just
it's,
seems really vague.
it's so, it really is hard to track.
I know, because
Because-
once they're out, they're out. They're not in your system anymore.
Right, so the requirement by law is that they only need to notify us once. So let's say your own child, you decided as a first grader, you have to either notify me or the Commissioner of Education. And he doesn't send us, we don't send them stuff, they don't send us stuff, so we don't even know. And then beyond that, so if you and your husband picked up and left and went to Lebanon or something, we have no idea you left. There's no reporting requirement. In fact, Lebanon might not even know they show up, you know, so it's really not, it's so, like somebody, when I remember 3 years ago when I began working, somebody said, how many homeschool students do you have? I'm like, I have no idea. You have no idea, because also, somebody could move in from New Jersey or Pennsylvania and they don't report. They're already homeschooling and they're, you know, so it's really,
Well, that's why I asked, because when I worked at the middle school, I mean, it feels like 100 years ago now, it's like 10. But we kept the kids that would withdraw to homeschool, we kept their file with their class, and it kind of moved up along.
yeah.
So we kind of had an idea, and sometimes we get a call from Lebanon, like, hey, so-and-so just enrolled here, and they said that you were the last public school. Do you happen to have a file? We do, and send it along.
Right, sure.
But I didn't know, so I didn't know if this was like the number of dead files kind
So,
of going along.
yeah,
the
I'd have to check
process,
where,
or-
I can find out for you where the number
I
came
was
from.
just curious.
Because the other thing that changed since then, Kim, is so in 2013, the homeschool law changed. So there used to be a requirement by the parents that they had to, their child had to come to school for the state testing
Right.
and take assessment. Now there's none of that.
Nothing.
So there's like, it is, New Hampshire has probably the most liberal homeschooling laws in the whole country. So essentially, it's like, we have no say in anything and really can't ask what's going on. We're back, before you could say, you know, like, I mean, they would come take the state assessment. At least you would know, like, they were doing something. But now it's not.
Pierre, if they are going to a private school, do you know?
No,
So it's the same
It's
thing
a
then?
similar
right,
process.
yeah.
We
Yeah,
would-
no,
we
you're,
would know, like, if they went to New Hampton, when I worked at the middle school, I sent a lot of transcripts to New Hampton or to Tilton School.
We
But the
also
file,
keep,
again,
like,
would move to the high school
Bonnie
with
and
their
things
class.
like that too.
Yeah.
right. But beyond that, if that same student left the private school and went somewhere else, I mean, we don't know that.
You had to
know,
be a
you-
detective to try and figure out where the kid
Right,
was last.
so no,
enrolled.
you don't, it's very difficult. Yeah, it's a good question,
So
Kim.
that's
but-
why I asked, just because, you know, the number, it creeps up, but I'm like, I don't know where the 24 in September came from. Was it from last year,
Right.
is it just? when
I
we
will
started
ask
tracking?
where she got that, get back to you on that, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other board member comments? Okay. Seeing none, financial A, general assurances.